Hey, good morning, guys. It's time for the midweek lift. I've got just a quick 2 or 3 minute devotional from Matthew 28. Just a thought to think about. Royce did a great one in the book on Words of Grace, where he talked about going and being evangelists. And I just want to back up a few verses before that. Starting in verse 16, it says, "Then the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain where Jesus had told them to go. When they saw him, they worshiped him, but some doubted. Then Jesus came to them and said, 'All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age.'" I think it's really crazy that we see here in verse 17 that here, just post-resurrection, Jesus has raised from the dead. They've seen him raised from the dead. And it says they worshiped him, but some doubted. What did they doubt? They certainly didn't doubt the resurrection. Jesus is standing there right in front of him. They watched him die. They knew he had been in the grave. They saw the wounds. They knew that he had resurrected from the dead. They will go on and die for this belief. What did they doubt? Well, at this point, I wonder if they doubted what Jesus' plan was, because they thought Jesus was, here to be a military leader, and he died on the cross. But then he rose from the grave. Now, how great is that, right? You're going to have a military leader that can rise from the grave. So they go to this mountain, and I think they're thinking, okay, it's a little confusing here. I guess now we attack and kick the Romans out. I guess now Jesus takes his throne, and there's some doubt. What happens next? They didn't really understand what was going to happen. And the reason is because they didn't have the Holy Spirit yet. So Jesus then says, hey, don't worry. All the authority in heaven and earth has been given to me. You want a kingdom? You want a king? All authority has been given to me. And I'm going to give it to you to go make a kingdom, go make disciples. But you got to wait right now. You got to hang out and wait. And that's what they did. They waited in Jerusalem. He says, don't leave Jerusalem. And they stayed there for 40 days. They stayed there. Coincidentally, that's how long Jesus spent in the wilderness. Coincidentally, that's how long it rained during the flood. 40 days is a very significant biblical number in terms of uncertainty and trials and suffering and waiting and purification. And at the end of 40 days at Pentecost, guess what happens? The Holy Spirit comes down in them, and the words of Jesus become crystal clear, and the kingdom becomes crystal clear, and the doubt is gone. And now they know what they have to do. So what does that mean for us? Well, sometimes we are in the 40 days, right? We know that Jesus raised from the dead, but we don't know what he's doing. And we're waiting. We're waiting like Noah in the ark. We're waiting like Jesus in the wilderness. We're waiting like the disciples, waiting for the Holy Spirit. So we need to call on the Holy Spirit and say, if you have all authority and you've given it to us through the power of your Spirit, then bring your Spirit and let your mission be clear to us so that when we go, we know how to go. Right? Because Jesus says, go into all the earth, and the Spirit will show us how to do that. So I hope that today, if you're in the 40 days, that you start calling on God to send his Spirit so that the mission can become even clearer. And if you're doubting, you're in good company, but hang in there. All right, we love you. I hope you have a great week. Talk to you later.